Did William Wright go to jail again?
Yeah, he was in jail.
Everybody goes to jail.
I had a friend, the first
Either that
program,
or mental institutions.
first program I ever did for public access was that quarterback way back with a man named Jerry Greenfield, my dear friend who was a professor at New Paltz University, and he had been one of the Stern Gang members. Really interesting guy. Stern Gang was a group of hardcore Zionists who set up the state of Israel. But anyway, he had been at the trial of Wilhelm Reich, and he was and we did it. If I'm not mistaken, he had an orgone accumulator in the compartment.
Right.
And we went, and he had me sit in the orgone accumulator. It was like a privy. You're sitting in a privy, and you had the microphone, and I'm inside the orgone accumulator. And he said, "So how do you feel? How do you feel?" I said, "Well, it feels sort of heavy." Heavy, you know? But that was the first program I think I ever did. With a guy who was a Wilhelm Reich guy, you know, and had been in his trial.
But there are a lot of people who sense the fact that there is a universal consciousness. He talked about.
Is that what Jews call God?
Well, that's what he said in the video. No, no.
Right?
I don't know. I mean, was he a representative for the Jews? I don't know. Do Jews think that God is just a universal consciousness? No. God is specific. What's that?
Universal consciousness is kind of a large concept.
Well, yes, but no. I believe that there is one, and I think that it's something that I'm connected to, and I feel that. But that may just be my own ego anyway, so I don't know.
Did any of you happen to see the program the other night that Charlie Rose did?
Yeah.
Well, the specific one I meant is with Robert Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T.
I think I saw that.
He's a major writer, and he had written a book on God, or on religion, and he was talking about it. But I would say the book he wrote maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, Robert Wright, I got it in my bookshelf. It's one of my favorites. It's called Non-Zero Sum. And he was looking then at the concept, a non-zero sum is where you have more than enough. And so that if it's zero sum, for one to win, another has to lose. If non-zero sum is that there's enough for everybody, so that's like transcending scarcity. He wrote that book. It's a real major intellectual thing. I thought he was better when he was writing on that subject than writing on religion. He was trying to talk about religion, and the religions as being, as you were talking, these myths and the things that had to be brought up in order to deal with our self-reflective consciousness, asking ultimate questions about what it's all about.
That's what this fellow's movie was about, as a reflective thing of self. But in actuality, historically, these myths were exploited in order to establish a new empire.
Yeah, that's what he said. It was all about political power.
Yeah, that's all it was. And if you remember, you interviewed Joseph Atwell, who wrote the book Caesar's Messiah, and it explains how Flavian Caesar rewrote history. Anyway, check out on the internet, Caesar's Messiah.
They do. I also would like to...
Can you transcend scarcity without money?
I don't think so.
I hope it happens within the next 2 months because my bills are due.
No,
Send money, everybody.
Do you think there's any society that does it more successfully than we do?
Well,
Money?
don't talk to me because that's the only thing that has been motivating me for over 40 years. Is that at the level of capability, humanity, as part of the evolution of consciousness, has transcended material scarcity. And I think that's the major thing. And he was, Robert Wright was talking about it.
10 people. Now we got 10 people.
Well, because people want to see what's happening on the street.
So what's happening? I feel like, I can't believe it.
We're sitting in
They must log on.
and they go off in Manhattan.
I don't know how
It never goes down.
But 4 of us are broke. We're talking about transcending scarcity.
Well, if you think about it, if you you have a, if you get to the point where you have, and that thing that, what's his name, Chris Alexander did for Wired magazine?
Yeah.
He said, tech is becoming too cheap to meter. We must begin to manage for abundance rather than scarcity.
Well, you're right, but
But
when that
scarce-
happens,
No,
I want
scarcity.
to know why is there such resistance to this kind of change in Congress?
Are
right
you
now?
kidding? Are you kidding? Do you realize there's no thing? If you're talking about a situation where all human institutions were formulated within a particular ontologic or reality, ontology, and it's changed fundamentally, that's the stuff of at least speciation or a new relationship to cosmos or something on that order, and that's what you're talking about. All of your institutions were formulated within a context where there's not enough. It was zero sum. For country A to win, country B had to lose. For men to win, women had to lose. For all that.
Well,
But if
that's
you
what-
get
that's
to where
what,
there's enough, if you get that
Telecoms
transformation,
doing right
and we haven't had that as part of the ontology or the reality at the level of capability, except for about 40 years ago. We haven't had that. It's always been not enough. I mean, I have arguments with Paula. She thinks that it's always been enough. I don't understand that. But there wasn't enough when you were in the cave. If you're thinking about you're going to get some carrion to eat, for 200,000 years. So we get to a point, and it didn't occur, according to Fuller's thing and others, it didn't occur to where the capability was such until about the year 1970.
Well,
And but it calls into question the basic premise for all your institutions, everything, even on indication of notions of human nature, and all the assumptions of the philosophy, all the assumptions of the political organization, all the assumptions of economic organization, are all being subsumed within the new order that is dawning. And so it's so questioning of everything.
But why is Congress so resistant to change?
Because they're wrapped up in an outdated paradigm.
Well, you
Just
gotta
like
unwrap
feudalism.
them.
Feudalism was outdated. We had feudalism was the way
But
we
you seem to think that the Obama administration is going to change that.
No, it's not so much the Obama administration. I think they're going to catch up with it.
Well,
But the more
we're
you're
still here after December 21st, 2012, when we're all supposed to.
yeah, I know that's the main thing or something. Yeah, but maybe. But I think it's sooner than that. I think it's going to dawn soon because the bailout and everything they have to do about the economic order is not.
They did the
going to work.
bailout already.
They
It
haven't
didn't work.
No, it's worked. It's staved off a Great Depression, and I think they've done well. But the institutions are still there. All the institutional assumptions are still there, and so it's just not.
There's a lot of people.
Because the banks that were bailed out are still saddled with the same very bad debt.
Yeah,
It hasn't gone anywhere. They still haven't.
they haven't even used the money.
That's right. So I don't see it. The only thing that the stimulus has done is given us an artificial stock market boost. I feel sorry for those people who think that the stock market can sustain this kind of level.
I think Goldman Sachs did it right.
Yeah, you're right.
We're going to proceed as if nothing had happened differently. The bonuses went out, their profits soared, everybody else fell apart.
That's
Why?
right.
Why? Because it was business as usual.
Public intervention.
Well, there's a lot of public intervention, thank God. I think there could have been an absolute runaway Great Depression that they haven't done that. I think Paulson and Gardner and who's the guy? Sumner, they've done wonderful by staving off a complete collapse of the order. You've got to keep the old order that anchors the history in place, or you're really in doom. And they've done that.
I was
think
watching
they had to
the
do
press, and all these people saying, well, we're still not out of the woods, we're still in, and all this other stuff. And then, of course, these senators are not for healthcare reform, they want to keep everything private, and this and that, and, I'm saying, what reality are they in?
Well, I may be
The
wrong.
reality
Maybe not.
simply is that we're walking through a different set of woods. The same woods.
Well, I would submit they're walking through it. They're getting to the point where they're going to be able to subsume the old order within sit over there, Maggie.
No, she's fine.
No, but it's not for this camera.
Yeah, but
If
she's
you're over
got
there-
lighting over there. and
Well,
she's
it's
great.
all right, it's all right.
That's
Well,
what
pass it
she,
on.
that's
Whatever
what she
Maggie
says,
says, I'll
she has
pass
the
on.
backlighting.
Well, what am I saying?
Well, now you ruined the moment. You're
I
not to talk about it.
We were in the
thing is-
groove.
No, here's the deal. Depression, should they just let it come?
Sure.
The economic
They should have just
depression.
let it go.
It's still here.
It's still here.
Right,
It's
they
here in the
should have just let it happen, because all we did was put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah, they postponed the inevitable.
Right.
Well, they saved the system. Roosevelt did the same.
You think they saved the system?
Yes, they have, because
You
it's
can't
not
believe
recovered.
Carol, even you're
And
the
you
one.
want the system saved.
He's an optimist, he thinks, oh, Obama's gonna pick up on this, we've transcended scarcity thing.
No, I don't think it's going to take a long time to get to that. It'll
Obama
have to
hasn't
be a more
even accomplished
pragmatic
one thing.
approach
Except
within the
that-
political process.
He
This is
hasn't
really
even
changing.
repealed DOMA. I'm not happy about that.
Well, I think it's, I would have hated if the system had fallen apart.
Don't
It would
ask,
have been
don't tell,
horrible.
he hasn't
They have
repealed
to
that
keep
either.
the system
The
in
big
place.
test, Harold, for the system's falling apart is going to be the medical system.
That's
Well, they're
right.
still doing that.
Not the
Yeah,
Because that's falling apart.
but that's one
But
aspect.
that, you know, Harold, it's one thing to lose your financial ability.
Right,
And
your credit,
hang
the
on.
credit system.
Don't interrupt me.
Sorry.
When you lose your finances, your bank account, when you lose your home, you have some residual strength that you never knew you had. And you will find a way to survive when the institutions go down the tubes.
Well,
But in medicine, if those institutions are failing, and you can't get to a doctor, you're dead. You don't have recourse.
well, we get some alternate health things.
No, that's not,
stones in
that's
there.
not the case.
No, the people, yeah.
There are people who have heart attacks and where are they gonna go? You know what I mean?
Take an aspirin.
Yeah, but you know, one of the things is
There
that
are people who
one
get,
of,
who
one of,
have no insurance, who get, you know, heart attacks.
Yeah.
Where are they supposed to go? If they go to an emergency room, they still get a bill.
yeah, but think of it in a different way if you could, because I think it's true, I don't know, but I'm almost sure it's true, that these are not normal times, that this is the time of, people probably said that ever since the
But
beginning
there
of
hasn't been a
humanity.
normal time since George Bush
Well,
was elected.
yeah, but no, I'm thinking of Cro-Magnon cage. People were sitting around saying, what's it all about? What am I? They had self-reflective consciousness, and it's always been like that. And we're now at a time, we're closing quotes on the human experience. We're coming to a new relationship to the
That's
cosmos.
what he thinks.
I think
I
it's
hate to
inherent.
think it can't get better.
No.
But he's thinking that all of a sudden people are gonna wake up. It's not gonna happen. We have just temporarily staved off the worst of it.
Now, what might have been the result, if you're thinking in large terms, one of the aspects of what makes this different than all the other times is I do believe it's true that the extension of consciousness into technology has been advancing rapidly. It's now moving exponentially, but that the use of the technology has been done, and the myths that are recorded out of history have been used to consolidate power for certain groups to have control over others, so that they could steal their grain, make their tribes strong, and build up in a geopolitical way. And that's been the history of mankind. James Joyce called it a nightmare, and I agree.
Well, for
So,
sure it is.
we
a
are coming
nightmare.
to the end of that.
Well, that's what you think.
Yes.
Bullshit.
And one of the measures of that is, suppose we had a
That's what you
great,
think we've
suppose
come to the
there
end
had
of. I
been-
think we're just doing it bigger and better.
what if there had been a runaway, we got systems we've inherited, and if there had been a runaway, as you say, we could start all over, depression. What you have to do is, and I believe it's true, and it's something that should be, the weapon systems that exist are no longer ones that can just wipe out the other tribe and make you the winner.
They can annihilate the world.
Well,
it's
no,
gonna
they
happen.
can annihilate the world, but they can apparently, from the modeling, wipe out every single human being. Now, we could
Who out
never,
there thinks that we've transcended material scarcity? Come on.
well, that's the other side of it. No,
Not
but
me.
there's modeling that would show that. We couldn't do that in the Second World War. That's that reason I was born. In the time that I was born and lived, we went through across a major existential line in terms of the extending of our weapons capability
Well, that's
to gain advantage in empire and all of that kind of thing that we've been playing throughout all of
We just
history.
done it bigger
And
better.
so the danger of an all-out economic collapse is something that is so interconnected and so forth that would lead to the unleashing of the destructive capability inherent in the weapon systems of the United States of America.
Yeah, but you seem to think that we're getting better, and it's going to get better, and I don't think so.
No, I'm saying staving off the depression, that's
I
what
don't
could
think
have
we've
resulted.
staved off anything.
The results of that kind of massive disruption of the means of material sustenance for the people of the world and the ecology, such as it is such that it would lead to a desperation kind of thing that could lead to the unthinkable, the unleashing of the weapons of the United States
It may
of
very
America.
well happen.
Yes, now, wait a minute.
We don't
That's
have
the
to
end of the
unleash the
species.
weapons.
That's not the end of the Second World War. That's not the end of the First World War. That's not the end of the War of
Just a
anti-war.
second, you don't have to unleash the weapons.
Not a war. For desperation and annihilation to occur, we can just count on nature.
That's-
I don't think so. I don't think so. There's anything that nature has that could wipe out the species.
Or a couple
Or
of
cut
plates.
off this
Is that-
development of consciousness.
No, I know what Mark is.
We're out of
One meteor,
popcorn.
right? A whole shift, stuff like that. A whole shift.
I don't think there's anything. We've even
No,
got.
they actually, I've heard, Barbara, you're on the have you heard about some asteroid that's predicted to come just
Of course,
last year?
of course.
Asteroids.
Yeah, but do you know what else
Or
we've done?
something big.
Is that like hemorrhoids? Asteroids?
No, but you know what else we've done? And they talk.
There
You
was
know
a
what
joke
else
about
they've done?
that.
You don't understand what they've done now? They can map those things. They can map those things out in space, light years away, and they can send devices that would send them off a collision course with the United States. I mean, with the world. I don't think there's anything in nature that
Oh,
could
come on,
destroy our
girl.
species
I can't
except
believe it.
ourselves.
You know, some big things coming from outer space, that
Yeah.
the same people that walked around on the moon are gonna go up there and push it. Are they gonna
Yes,
do
they
it?
can.
Like Superman?
Of course, not Superman. They have
Sorry.
rockets that can be.
I've got my handy dandy crusty squirt gun.
Well, I'm
You
sorry.
asteroid.
That's
I'm going to annihilate you.
not
My comic book,
11, we've got 11 people.
My
Love the asteroid.
And we have 12. Then we have 12.
My comic book hero can number your comic book hero.
oh yeah.
Well, you make jokes, but they do, Paula. They have
But make
systems.
jokes. I mean,
You know,
I told Alan, he can be
Interestingly
with
enough, when I was a kid, all I did was read Superman comics and Mad magazines.
Man,
Oh, yeah.
Great. Great.
Love it, lot.
And the real. The real. Did you have Paul Krasner's The Real?
That's who he is. What we worry, Alfred Newman.
Yeah.
What
What
we
we worry?
No,
No,
quite
no.
the opposite.
I
I do not
The
worry.
premise is there's nothing in nature that can destroy the human species except the human species.
That's
Now,
not true. That's
and
not
they've never
true.
been able to
You know what it is? It's
Tell me
a
what
little
it is.
micro. It's a little micro, like War of the Worlds.
That's right.
Yeah. No, that's the premise.
Oh,
That's the premise. I don't think there's anything in nature that can
Yes,
destroy our
that's not,
species.
that's not true.
What? What could?
Microbes.
Um,
Microbes. Why do you think they're trying to vaccinate everybody about the H1N1 virus?
I don't.
What me worry?
Well, no.
Swine flu.
Well, much of that.
You gotta put him on a
destructive
white
are
background
the
so he's by
weapons
himself.
we've developed to overcome
Well, that's true too.
situation in
But guess
nature.
what? We have more to worry about microbes than
What
we
we
do about
worry?
nuclear weapons.
They
Not
destroyed the
only-
Roman Empire.
Here, we'll do like
They
the
decimated 2/3
Instead
of
of
Europe.
the Indians have the talking stick,
What
you
be
talk when you
worried?
hold it, so whenever you pass around Alfred.
Oh,
you
somebody tried to do that at
What we
movies.
worry?
Somebody tried to do that thing with the talking stick. I said, what are you doing? I'm an adult. I don't need a talking stick.
You need an Alfred.
con.
You need a Harold Channer.
what be
What?
worried?
We worry? Well, but it's true. The thing we have to worry about more than nuclear weapons are microbes.
No, microbes are under the control of humanity.
That's
Well,
what
well,
you
well,
think.
Microbes. Anybody
Yeah,
out there
microbes.
has
That's what
say
you
about
think.
microbes from that?
That's what you think.
Yeah.
No, No, let me,
It's not
for a
German
moment.
warfare is very developed.
Bubble,
Oh, yes.
By the
bubble.
weapons systems of
I have the
United
floor.
States.
You have
Break,
a camera.
break.
Yeah.
I have.
Look at the AIDS
May I-
epidemic in Africa.
It's terrible.
AIDS
Well, they
did
were-
not wipe
She's
out
got,
any
she's got
species.
Alfred and Newman weaponry.
If they were
No.
fussing around with all of these bacteria, then maybe we wouldn't have the AIDS epidemic.
Maybe,
They were
maybe.
doing all kinds of experiments.
But
Nature
that's only
nature
part
did
of
just
the
fine
weapons
by itself.
capability that humanity has developed by manipulating
Bubble,
the
bubble,
virus.
bubble. Hang on for a second.
But
Would you
so
say
part of
there
your
are
destructive
natural
Maybe.
viruses. Like
I have the floor.
I don't
you
think,
have a floor, I'll take the ceiling.
I don't think there's any.
Carol,
All right,
break.
let me get to-
In terms of warfare, man's being able to destroy himself versus microbes, let me render an example. Render, as I say. World War I. The World War to end all wars.
Or
It ended.
mustard.
It ended after 4 years of trench warfare. It had mustard gas. It had chemical gases. It absolutely destroyed the cream of European society, etc. However, there was a little railroad station in France. I can't remember the name, but it was a place for transporting and exchanging directions for troop movement. The troops came in off the coast in the ships. They went through this one train station, and then they go off to Brussels. They go south to France, wherever it was the war was. But everybody seemed to have gone through this one train station. Now, after the years and the Versailles Treaty, you had the soldiers going home out of Europe.
Yeah.
And millions died.
Yeah, the flu epidemic of 18.
Excuse me. In 1918, 1919, all these soldiers brought back this epidemic of viral flu from this one locality were able to trace and made a pandemic.
Okay.
There were scores of millions that died from flu.
Yes.
It was a greater decimation of people worldwide across more classes of people than any combat, any weapon, any war that
When
has
did you
ever
learn
been
about
seen.
Well, that's everybody
When
knows
did you-
that. That's all over the world. Everybody
When did
knows
you
that.
know
That's been on television.
I've known it for
So
years.
It's really good.
And
Okay,
the thing that
that's part of humanity's
So is that
contribution
just that
to the
natural,
death
or is it just a
of the
there was no
evolution of
flu
consciousness.
vaccination. This was a natural.
Well, someone said they were
They
vaccinated.
didn't have that those days.
No, not at all. They didn't even
This
have
was a
penicillin.
great vaccination. I don't know if you know this, but antibiotics are a very recent discovery.
Right.
I mean,
1930?
I know it was, well, it was later on that it became common use, but I was dying of the measles. I was 8 years old. And the only antibiotic they had was something called Oreomycin. And it was the most horrific tasting substance, but it was a liquid, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
But they didn't have, in the 1950s, they didn't have common use of antibiotics and all of the things. That's the thing that has extended our lifespans.
More than
Anything are antibiotics and things like that, and vaccinations. And of course, none of it are perfect. And there are people who are allergic to penicillin, but you know how many lives were saved?
Oh, it's been wonderful.
even in wartime.
It's a wonderful invention.
All right, you
But
go.
it's still not taking it into the assumption.
No, Harold.
The vast majority of evolution on this planet was done at the level of bacteria. There was probably 9/10 of evolution on this planet was nothing but bacteria.
We're talking
They
40
didn't-
million people who died
Well,
in
you're talking,
1919.
yes, this is talking in terms of billions of
And
years.
the flu
process.
epidemic is an epidemic. It is catching.
The point is that humanity is what brought a difference, and that capability is now reaching a point. It was not in 1912 species lethal. There
Harold,
would have been people survive in New Guinea. There would have been people survive as Homo sapiens in China or in Australia or somewhere. It was not species lethal. It's now species lethal. Not a single human being would survive an all-out unleashing of the weapons destruction if they're unleashed by the United States of America. Remember that thing in 1917, nobody ever thought it would be done. The Guns of August, Barbara Tuchman, they thought it would never happen. It couldn't happen because the good guys, or we think because we're the good guys, everything's okay and everything like that.
After reading about Ezra Pound, I don't think we're good.
Well, that's another issue. But the thing is that it's an existential new reality and has not applied in the evolution of consciousness until about the year 1970. That's within our lifetime. So that makes this different, a transition period, unlike all of human evolution 200,000 years ago.
Yeah, but how did Jesus...
Harold, you have a pandemic.
I don't have any idea how in the hell that's some myth that was established, like she said, in order to get power for a certain group, and they all come up with...
You see it with your eyes. I went to an ashram. I saw stuff with my eyes. I
Well-
felt the energy. I felt people. There was one lady who had some cysts in her ovary, and when these processes were running, my breasts got bigger. You know, the tumors that she had in her ovaries.
I don't know what
got
that
bigger.
has to do
It's
with
this-
it. There's mind over matter and things you can do.
Raising the dead, healing the blind, walking on water, you know. It's a science to it. We're
Well-
so ignorant of ancient sciences. There's something called Khandana yoga, where a saint can cut their hand off and put it back on the hand. And we're so ignorant of it. It doesn't mean that the science isn't there. We have little vestiges. Okay, you have Thomas Jefferson who threw out all the miracles in the Bible. Then you had one of those feminists, Stanton, whose dad was a judge. She threw out everything that was anti-woman in the Bible. So everybody's rewriting the Bible. But, you know, how about thinking of it as some sort of fingerprints of a lost science that were found?
Well, that's the way to think. I don't think it's
We look
true.
on the pyramids and we
can't
just say,
rebuild
well,
them.
I don't know how we built them.
They still
And then that's
got it
that.
right.
We shake our hands and walk away. But if you haven't resolved that, you can't be talking about this evolution. Because there isn't. If the newer pyramids are lousier than the older pyramids, then how do you talk about an evolution?
I don't see
The
how you can...
newest pyramids, the ones that are the most recent, are the most primitive ones. They're rubble heaps. They're just rubble heaps. It's the oldest pyramids that are staggering. You get 200-ton blocks next to each other so tightly, you can't put a business card in between.
Same with
I
the
saw
Aztec,
that.
same with the Inca.
Have you been to Giza Plateau?
Yeah.
You've been there? You've seen the pyramid?
Yeah. And I
And
thought
the
you've
Sphinx?
seen the ones in South America.
And this, oh, you mean,
The Inca, they have the
not
same
the
thing.
Inca, but how about this other? Something else.
Yeah, but I don't understand. Those are all things that were done. and
No,
they
that's
could-
not a myth. A 200-ton block next to another
Yeah.
one with.
Yeah, but what's the
That's not a
implication?
myth.
What's
It's
the
real.
implication? What's the
It's real. It's
implication?
Implication
They
is
were
that-
able to do what?
The-
You think they had starships that were doing something or something?
No,
not
that's
at all.
knowledge that we don't possess.
They had some sort of secret knowledge that got lost and they transcended scarcity.
A
They
lot of
could-
knowledge
Yeah,
has been
absolutely.
lost.
No, they had no knowledge. I'll tell you something. It's not just material or moving stones. It's also knowledge. It's also
moves
knowledge.
stones. Knowledge.
No,
moves
knowledge,
stones.
knowledge in the
is power.
abstract. They didn't know about neurotransmitters. They didn't know the
And you know what?
biochemical.
Who gives a shit about neurotransmitters? You know what I just found out? Scientists in Israel are saying, you know what? The DNA signatures aren't that accurate. So I went and wrote somebody who's an expert on that. He goes, that's an open secret among us DNA guys.
Okay, so
That's massive. So you're making a lot of your premise based on stuff that might not be true.
Okay,
and God
maybe.
knows
Maybe.
we have so many lies coming out of the world. That's why I'm saying trust your body. Trust what's happening when you're in the
And
sunlight.
the
What's
worst
happening
thing,
when you're...
Harold, is for somebody to
I
act
can't
upon
understand that way
a
of
lie.
thinking. What?
The worst thing in the world is for somebody to knowingly act upon a lie to their own benefit.
Well, it's happened. That's history.
They perpetuate.
All of those systems were, like that fellow Wright was talking very well, was right. And those religious things and the miracles and all of that, it was done to enhance the political power of a certain group.
An ATM
That's right.
machine is not, in India, when ATM machines were first around, there weren't that many, and we had to really exert ourselves to find them. You should have seen people on the street watching me and Vincenzo put a plastic card in the machine. And to
we've been very perplexed throughout all of our existence, throughout 200,000 years, 10,000 generations. We haven't had civilization until about 8,000 years ago. And throughout all of that travel, we were perplexed by a consciousness that was self-reflective, and we could ask questions like, what's it all about? So we invent gods. And we invent big super beings that are the ones who give us the power.
That's not why we invented gods.
To get power for a particular group.
Right.
Right. That's what it was. So they could, and it was at the behest, and you know what the leading edge of technology was? It was weapons.
If you take a look at civilization, you know that they claimed to be descended from gods. They did that in order to take over control of the masses and exploit them.
Yes, thank you. That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Excuse my language, but it's just a mind fuck.
Yeah.
May I interject something here?
Again, it's
Greece,
part
Harold,
of my share of history.
That's
in
right.
Greece,
Greece.
hello, in Greece, with the big,
12 people.
12 and growing, it's growing.
Organized, how
Well,
many?
This is being streamed to the
internet.
internet.
You'll get a couple of hundred.
This ACAP, this extended ACAP.
Well, this is more than ACAP. Thing is, I put a couple of announcements up on the ACAP LinkedIn group.
Yeah,
So
I
people
learned how
know
to work
about
that.
it. So they know about
Okay,
it.
so Maggie, you're on.
That's why you get an audience.
Yes,
What were
I
we just
realize
talking
that.
about?
I'm just in the
You know,
dark.
that's why we use it. That's why I love LinkedIn.
Scarcity.
I
Well, then
teach
it's a
you
good
sometimes
bet.
on YouTube. I know it comes up, I have nothing, I have nothing what to do.
Intellectual, creative intellectual.
I love LinkedIn. I love that.
I know, you're absolutely right, I appreciate
You
it.
know, you can make a living just using
Okay, I have a question too, an open question, changing the subject completely.
Well, join ACAP, creative intellectual.
Yeah.
Eccentric too.
All right, I want your
Eccentric
opinion,
power.
all four of your opinions. Yesterday I posed a question to Harold. Cats, dogs, anybody.
Or you're including yourself.
I posed a question to Harold yesterday. And I'm thinking about civilizations all around the world through the ages, and when they unearth them, rediscover them, go to their burial chambers, etc., etc. And usually somebody's buried with those things that are worthwhile in their society,
Have value.
have value. Now, why, in this whole global sphere, did each society have the same value for the same thing?
Well, for the
Gold.
Jade,
Jade.
gold, diamond.
Gem.
because contrary to what people believe, people did travel, and they did not think the world was flat. In fact, Roman coinage actually had spheres, and so they knew that the world was
A
round.
lot of the world.
They knew about the sun and the moon, so they looked at the sun and the moon and said, well, that's round, and they knew that the earth was round. So they lied. In fact, there's plenty of archaeological evidence.
Oh!
There's plenty of archaeological evidence indicating that there were world travelers BC.
Oh,
At least
yeah,
hundreds of
BC.
years BC.
Yeah, but what about Barbara, 140,000 years ago in the caves of the Serengeti Plain?
Well,
They
it's
didn't
very
think the world was round then, they didn't have the knowledge, they didn't have the telescope. There's been an advance of the extension of technology
Well, there's
and
always,
knowledge out in the environment.
you know,
makes
there's
it
always
different.
been, there have always been the oceans. People
Yeah.
parse them. People
Well,
parse them.
I studied with the man who was my advisor, who was the leading geographer in the country, and he had a premise he made. He was great. He was a real professor. We used to have professors then. We'd sit at the head of the table with a pipe, and he was very knowledgeable. And he had proposed a seaside habitat for early man because of the clams was a source of food. Also, the headlands could give protection against the big cats. That was just a thought. Man's role in changing the face of the earth was geography is about. And we've been changing it, and now we've reached a point, and I do not think there's any time in that 200,000 years of human evolution when we could have done anything that would have destroyed that line of conscious evolution that came up the hominoid line, and which we are the inheritors of. And we're now coming to the end of 200,000 years of human experience. We're going to come into a new relationship to the universe like punctuated equilibrium or species.
I don't
if we
know-
make
I
it.
don't think we're going to make it.
Well, if we don't make it, then we will wipe it out.
cigarette that you're not gonna take.
No, I think that this is not your normal time. Now,
My
everybody
clean
comes up-
floor.
I know, but it'll be swept
Well,
up.
I use one of these.
There's always gonna be some survivors,
Why?
like those bad movies, 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people.
I don't
I
think
love
so.
those kind of
Like you see
movies.
bad movies.
Well,
I
that's what
I
happened
don't
during the
think
ice
so,
ages.
Josh.
I
I
love
don't
those
think
end
there
of
would.
the world movies.
There's gonna be somebody counting money in a bank vault and they'll
One
survive.
thing, well, can you make one premise? Because the most recent experience was the Second World War, and we were trying as hard as we could to kill each other. All full tilt boogie,
Well,
and
we
we
thought it
were
was gonna be the
impotent.
war, the
We
war
were
to end all
impotent. We
wars.
did not have the ability to do anything like that to cut off that line of evolution that we call Homo sapiens.
But look how it ended.
It ended in a historical pattern like exchange of power between the people as it had gone on throughout all of civilized history. They get weapon systems so they can steal the brains because somebody else gets strong, do that, and
So
exert
what else
themselves
is
and all of that. So that's history. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare compared to where we're going. And the thing is that process has come to an end, and it is species lethal, and the viruses are now weapons that can be unleashed in that God-around thing, and that is unique. So within our lifetime, we've crossed an existential line that is unique in all of the history of the evolution of consciousness. Now, the adverse side of that is we've also extended the line, and we've also gotten to the point where we have a capability, and it is knowledge, and it's coming exponentially in every field. We're learning about how the thing system works. And we have the ability to take care of everybody in a non-zero sum for the first time, where everybody can be taken care of, and the ecology can be taken care of, with exponentially increasing nanotechnology and technologies that make it possible to take care of everything. We have transcended material scarcity, and that has not been applicable until about the year 1970.
Get over it.
But I don't
Okay,
think it's gonna
that's
happen.
the premise.
She don't think it's gonna happen either.
Well, I think there's a good chance that it will.
I think the more
And
equalizing
we have to
force
come-
is, Harold, is that some author wrote it, I won't take credit, but in the future, not too distant future, when everybody is born, they will be given their date of birth on their birth certificate, and they will calculate it, blah, 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 given this person, his genes, his DNA, or whatever it is, and then he will be given summarily a date of death.
Oh,
They can
like
make-
the movie, like that movie, what do you call it, with Michael York? It was great.
Green?
No, not
Oh,
that one.
they chased each other. That was funny.
Oh, it was wonderful. I love
Something
that
Run?
movie. Yeah, it was something like Logan's Run. I love that movie. But he showed, oh, you don't have to die. You know, they were all,
Program.
they told they told them they were going to be renewed at age 30. They had a clock on their hand, light would go off, and they were all trying to run, looking for sanctuary. Well, I love that movie.
Well, there's a lot of, most of those movies projecting that kind of thing projected dystopia.
Well, so did the Bible.
You know, like the Terminator.
We have the
and the robots are going to come and do
That's
their thing.
the whole thing about the Bible.
And
You
the
know,
one
the-
thing-
Excuse me.
Okay.
You know what the apocalypse is? Actually, did happen. It
Oh,
was
good.
the destruction of the temple of Jerusalem.
That was for a certain group of people that was in the
That
apocalypse.
was-
That
What
wasn't
do you
for
think
the
the
world.
Bible was
That
written
was,
for?
look, only 144,000 people are supposed to survive. And they're
That's
all-
according to the
excuse me,
evangelicals.
And they're only supposed to be celibate males, according to the book of Revelation.
Yeah, but it's bullshit. It's
I mean,
very
the Bible is
tale.
bullshit.
It's
Take
not,
that
it's
back,
not
blasphemy.
bullshit,
It
it's
is
a,
fairy
excuse
tale.
me, it was a prophecy.
Yes.
It was a prophecy, but it was a fulfilled prophecy.
It wasn't fulfilled.
It happened, it had to do in the year 70 of the Common Era, and it had to do with the destruction of the temple and the looting of the temple. Please, it happened already.
Well, that happened
And
to
who was the
That
emperor?
happened to all kinds
It
of
was Titus
civilizations.
Flavius.
So that happened to all kinds of civilizations. It happened to the Aztecs when Cortez came. It
Right.
happened to the Inca
But you
when
have-
Pizarro came.
Yes, but
That's happened to
Loaded
Germany when
boys
the
and
Nazis,
because
when their allies
it's
came.
It happens
moving.
when I ring the doorbell and then they're, whoever they are that organize it, pull that together.
trying to
Well,
tell
that's a
you,
big-
I'm trying to tell
Yeah,
you
right.
that it happened already, and that
We'll have to go into
What?
negotiation.
the destruction, the apocalypse happened.
No, you're not talking about the apocalypse in the
I'm
sense of
talking
destruction
about-
of one group. You're talking about the destruction of the entire process, of which we are a part. Leading edge, in universe. There is a purpose in universe.
Supposed to have completely
There is
died
a
out.
purpose
I
in
can't hear
universe.
you because he's yelling.
Okay.
Was this group, the apocalypse was written for and about, were they supposed to
Yeah,
have
did you-
totally died out?
It was literature. It was replacement theology. You have to understand that the Bible is literature. That's what it is. It
Good
was
story.
meant-
I love that story.
Well, it was full of jokes and sexual, and all sorts of stuff.
But all that stuff, Mahabharata, everything, they've come up with these things. They had to have these for people. They needed a sense of identity.
No, they didn't
They do.
need
That's
those.
why they have them. They have
No,
these
it
things.
wasn't
But
done-
it was
wasn't done
ignorance.
because it was ignorance. But it wasn't done, but it wasn't done because it was needed. It was done for control.
Yes, it
Bible
was,
is
but it was
pornographic.
needed by
And
the
if you,
people that
and
had a sense
if you
of
think,
identity.
Vix, that, you know, you're gonna go to heaven,
Yes, that's another myth.
you're mistaken, but the thing
You're
is.
going to hell.
Well, this is
That's
how,
real.
if you make it that way. And besides, we just got an air conditioner anyhow, so don't worry about it.
Oh, thank God.
But, no, the thing is, it's a very masochistic mindset. You can take any kind of suffering whatsoever if you think there's going to be a reward at the end of it.
Yes, people needed that.
Well, they didn't need
Because
it.
they had a
It was
consciousness
means
that could
of-
handle it. A crocodile doesn't think that way.
It was
Hope
a
springs
means-
eternal.
It was a means of exploitation.
Yes.
And if you get over the mindset that there's a reward at the end of this, you mistake it. So you've got to make this better.
Yes. That I agree with the Jews have
This
really
is
got
the
a
thing
sense
you
of
gotta make
importance
better.
there. That's good. That's good. That's a contribution. There's been contributions. There's been build up. There's things on the positive side. And we're now at a point where the real challenge is for us to get a system that is going to serve everybody, not zero sum.
And you have to put women in charge.
Well, that
No,
would be
no, no.
one. That would be
Barbara
one thing
had
that
it
could
right
be
before. I think to
projected. That would be-
neutralize the fears of humankind that really air conditioning should be put in Dante's Inferno.
No, what you're going to have is a different economic system. You're going to have a different economic theory that informs the political process predicated upon this larger epistemological reality.
He rehearsed that. He rehearsed that a lot. He really rehearsed
No, that's the case. We're at a time of awakening. And it's going to be a thing that's going to
He
be...
thinks, but that's a fantasy that we're in an awakening. We're not awakening anything. We're still in the nightmare. We're still in the nightmare called history.
I couldn't agree with you more, right? We're at the end of it, and the time is, like he said, the history is a nightmare.
This is the
And I'm hearing
dawning
the alarm
of
clock.
the age of Aquarius.
Well, that was the thing.
Age of
That was the name of the
Aquarius.
company, the feeling.
Aquarius.
Think a minute, folks. You think about it, because the destructive capability, we arrived at the destructive capability that was species lethal around the year by all the modeling 70. We arrived at a point where we were...
If you're having deja vu, it's not a mistake.
And we arrived at the point where we were transcending material scarcity at the level of capability in around the year 1970.
Anyway.
1970 was when we walked on the moon. 1970
I don't think we walked on the moon. I have to go home. Do you
Okay.
believe we walked on the moon? I don't know if we walked
Yes,
on
of
the
course we
moon.
walked on the moon.
Yes, of course.
I was living in a commune then at the time on.
Yeah, and
It's
all
only
that
by
spirit,
authority,
all that
Harold.
spirit of
It's not
Woodstock and all of that, that was what was blowing in the wind. We were transcending scarcity.
They didn't
And
have
we
any
couldn't put it
toilets.
into practical application
I
until now.
was living in a commune on the Bowery when they
Yeah,
were walking
and
on
they,
the moon.
they thought
And
about
I
that.
watched it on television, and I thought, interesting, where did they get the camera to view people walking on the moon? So I'm just.
Yeah.
And photography
Well,
team.
okay.
And then the hustle got camera.
Let me help you clean this mess up.
The real challenge, don't worry about it, and we can do that. The real challenge is to get a system that takes those things into account. And in that regard, I think we ought to pay very careful attention to the country
Uh-oh,
I
I'm
think
out of
Libya
here.
is an advance to the world situation, the way the United States of America was in advance of feudal Europe
Yeah,
in the
we've
year
got fur balls hanging
1776.
around everywhere.
That system has been in place for 230 years and is thought of as legitimate for all time. It has to be subsumed within a new order of economic theory and organization politically of the planet. And that's before.
I think
And that's the challenge for
Chuck
public action.
Schumer disagrees.
Okay, guys,
You know, all
anyway,
kinds of political things.
I have to
Are
say
we
goodnight.
signing off?
I'm
Everything?
I'm signing off. I have to say goodnight.
How many do we have viewing now?
Oh,
3, 2,
Let's see.
1.
Wow.
12.
13.
That's amazing. We picked up a 13. Our lucky number, 13.
Wait, I know how to get it. Okay, let's repeat this
You
conversation.
have a lot, I told you, the longer you stay on, the more people will come to join.
Okay, can we just leave it here, Harold, and then you can see?
No, I think now we ought
No,
to, we have to
turn it off.
call.
Definitely editing.
I
I
hope you
don't know.
stop
I
recording.
don't know what.
Well, you have,
So we're now Oregon.
let's let Josh talk a little. We've been talking over Josh. He hasn't had a chance to get a word in edgewise, poor fellow.
Keep
No, yes.
We've got 11 more minutes. Can we do it 11 more minutes?
TV show, I hear that scenario over
Someday you're going to
and
have to teach
over
me how to
again.
make sense
Yes,
of LinkedIn.
every-
I have no idea. It comes up LinkedIn.
It's
It's
Messenger. I have no idea what
the
to do.
greatest thing ever invented.
Yeah, I know, but how do you make? I can't understand what
Putting
anybody's
this
doing.
all down.
They send me notes. I don't know what to do. There's
Yes,
nothing.
every
Right,
day.
No,
I think it's gonna-
why do they hide everything?
And one
Instead of
guest,
coming to our
Security,
meeting,
he said, I think you
well,
should
I
have.
got a lot. I have a lot. Good night. I have a lot to learn.
Another guest said, I think yes, I think the cockroaches or the ants should take over.
There you are. 7 does 13, maybe there's a cockroach.
Yeah,
Okay, so we got 10 minutes of streaming, and we can. Why don't you talk a little bit? What do you think, Josh? Everybody's been talking except you. You haven't.
yeah. No, I've been talking.
No, you haven't been hardly saying much. Everybody's talking
Well,
over you.
I think
So
there'll
what do
always
you think
be,
about the human
I think
condition?
there'll always be survivors, you know.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of, I mean, this is a big world, and people live differently. Like Paul was in India all those years,
Yeah.
and she was in, what, a rural environment. But I think I once told the story. I was at BAI, and there was a lady dressed in robes, and she was answering telephone calls, and I found it very interesting. I asked her, what do you do? And she said, she was a white woman, a very well-educated woman. She said, I live in rural African villages. I don't have electricity, I don't have water. So I said, the usual thing, what do you do for a grocery store?
Yeah.
She said, we have no grocery store. But we have a lot of other things. We have an extended family and so on. We have iconic and very wise people who help us with our problems. We don't have to see psychologists or psychiatrists and so on. We're very sensitive to where we can find clean, cool water, where we can take showers and so on. And we're aware of a lot of things that you guys are not aware in places like New York City. And we survived. And she told me this is about the 15th year she's been doing this. And she knew a lot of stuff. She would have been a splendid guest on Paula's show because she certainly did go further down the rabbit hole and living a very unusual and different life and surviving. And she was just in New York for a few weeks. So there'll always be survivors, or people living very differently from where we live in New York. Here, of course, if a weapon is unleashed, we can even be hit by so many different bricks and stones and buildings and...
Well, there's modeling. It shows, it's particularly germ warfare
But I think human
That could
beings
be
will always
unleashed.
survive.
in a spasm of hatred.
Make sure
And
there's enough
desperation.
germ warfare now.
And it would have to be the weapons of the United States of America, and that seems impossible because we're the good guys. Or mountains or the ants or something
Or
to
the
take
ants,
over
yeah.
after us. But I would hate to see this line
Oh,
of
the top of
conscious
it.
development wiped out. And I'm dismayed by the fact that the model, it has to be a model, you can't test it. But the modeling indicates that we've come to that point. And we still haven't got a system that the future requires in the name of elemental justice for everybody like Gaia, or like everybody in the human society having what it needs for them to realize their full potentiality. We don't have that. It's only for the few. Maybe 20% of the world is well served. Maybe 25. Most of the people in the world are still just having nothing they can think about at all about how am I going to get something to eat, or how am I going to get some food for my kid, or something. And what do I have to do that? Build into all kinds of authoritarian systems that are oppressive, and they don't have a liberating order accepted by the political or the intellectual leadership of the planet. And it's a challenge because that's more than going out into space in some physical sense. It's giving the elemental justice of the whole of the human society so everybody can be, in a certain sense, liberated to realize their full potential. We don't have a system that lets us do that because we're outdated systems coming out of a non-zero-sum historical context, and we need something new. And it's not there.
And another
It's going to
thing,
maybe emerge out of the realm of public access. That's my thought. It's a communication thing, but public access is really important.
and another thing we forget is that there are, we say, what do we do if this happens or that happens? Well, there are a lot of people full of hate
Yeah.
and who perpetrate destruction on the earth already. Look how many people were killed in Dayport. And
You know
we
that
know
there-
what the Nazis did, and we know even about so many other.
Actually, the Nazis weren't the worst, that's for sure.
What did you say, Maggie?
The Nazis certainly were not the worst.
Yeah.
Said what did she
People
say?
who-
I couldn't hear what Maggie
She
said.
said the Nazis were not the worst. You know who
Tell the
Ezra
one was
Pound
very
didn't
bad.
like was Franklin Roosevelt.
I beg your pardon?
Ezra Pound didn't like Franklin
Maybe. I don't know. He was. He liked Buckminster
And
Fuller.
apparently, as far as fascism was concerned,
And a lot of
Winston
people do that.
Churchill was going on and on about how great Muslim was. Ezra Pound never said the glowing things that Winston Churchill said about Muslim.
Really? That's interesting. That's it. I didn't realize that. Well,
He thought Winston Churchill thought that Muslim and fascism was great for people.
well, I would say that we're both involved with public access, which is a sister institution to WDAI, and what is generally called the progressive intellectual community. And I think the progressive intellectual community has had the wool pulled over its eyes in terms of its thinking about that which informs the entire political process, which is economic theory. It informs politics, political economy, and they've had the wool pulled over their eyes by adhering to the labor theory of value. That's what I think. I think that's the biggest thing that has to be brought in today. Into question. And the only country in the world that I know of that has tried to do something that runs against the idea that people will get income to buy things by working at some sort of a task within a canon that is set by people who own all the assets is the country of Libya. I think Libya is...
Is he coming back?
Yes, he's coming. He's going to be addressing it for the first time. He's going to be addressing the General Assembly right
What's his
after
name again?
Muammar Gaddafi.
Gaddafi's coming to town.
He is definitely coming.
Harold gets a
He's
bit-
definitely coming. We had done it already. And the revolution of him came about 2 weeks. He made the revolution on September 1. That's next Tuesday, the 40th anniversary. We're coming to the 40th anniversary of a number of things. Woodstock, about 40 days after walking on the moon. Woodstock, everybody thinking that there's something blowing in the wind. What was blowing in the wind is we were transcending scarcity at an ontologic level. And we haven't been able to get systems in place. But then also, Muammar Gaddafi established his revolution in September 1 of 1969. right in that very same time period. And his is probably the most important event of all because he's established a society that is beyond the labor theory of value. And I think the progressive community would be very good to adhere to that because the labor theory of value does not serve for
Now, you
distributing
can
demand.
apply the labor theory of value to other things too, like for instance to housing. You know, when we organize tenants on the left, we're using the model of labor union, you know, organized tenants standing up against one landlord.
Yes,
So we apply that theory to other
yes.
struggles.
My grandfather was a labor organizer in Detroit. And I know about that, but it's now down. I heard on the you know, through the sources.
And you never know, maybe we'll be able to organize robots.
Well, that's
and,
different. That's
intelligent
different.
computers.
That's different.
Well, look, if
You only now
run
have
out of reporting,
you only now have about 12%, as I understand, in the United States, of the labor, including private public sector.
Yeah.
It's only about 5 to 6% in the private sector are unionized. Union in the representation of labor, trying to get 50 cents more an hour for somebody by their labor and putting such a tension upon their labor, while all the assets are owned by a tiny plutocratic class that sets the template for all the institutions and the think tanks and everything else that have to fit into that canon in order to get funding or any support, and they have to be so specialized out that they
But
can't
we
be
also
taken.
have other parts of the world that
Yeah.
have to catch up with us. So when Aristide raised labor 10 cents an hour, they deposed him.
Yeah.
80.
Okay, but the idea that you're going to distribute income to people by their labor, and that labor is so important when the productive process is ever more rapidly galloping to non-labor capital assets, all owned by a tiny class. It's like the emperors of Rome or the kings of England. We don't want to have anything. We just want to be serfs on your estate. We'll sit into your canon. We'll all fit into it, and he challenges that. Because in Libya, if you start a business, you can't hire anyone. You can do away with wages by doing wage slavery by doing away with wages. And anybody who becomes part of an entity that produces, including capital assets, they have to be partners and owners of the capital assets as a way of distributing income. Only country in the world that does that. Everybody else is locked into the American model that is outdated. The American model is not legitimate for the ages. That has to be subsumed, and a model for that is very likely the model of Libya.
But here's the question I want to ask you that I think you should make clear. There is no scarcity. It's just a great number of people are denied the wealth of the world of their means
both
to acquire.
Okay, no, both the destructive capability and the transcendent scarcity has nothing to do with the real world. It has to do with capability.
I see.
There's a capability that we are not able to realize because we have institutions anchored in history, and it's important to be anchored there to do that. But that is not what the future requires. The future requires us to tap into our full capability for the service of everybody, a qualitative transformation that would bring everybody into being able to realize their full potential. And we don't have a system that the future requires because we're redefining outdated institutions. Like the labor theory of value, and Mr. Obama saying, we're going to get income to people by their jobs. Their jobs are going to be put out the door. Or you're going to slave labor in some other country. So that's outdated. And the progressive community should come in a way to really challenge the plutocracies of the world. And they haven't done it because it's so inconvenient to all the institutions we inherited. And that's the major challenge confronting mankind. We need a way to communicate about that. I think the way to communicate most effectively with the people is through public access or things like WBAI. And the more you're ensconced in the system, the more you're going to have to believe in the paradigm that serves.
Yeah.
So I think we've come to the end of time.
Yeah, we stopped recording.
Oh, well,
180 minutes, but we still, we have 14 people. I can't believe all of you stayed from the beginning at 3 hours, but it has been pretty nice. It's good.
Yeah, this is ended here.
Good job, right?
This is ended too. This is just ending now the tape. So that's the end. This is the end of the third hour of the ACAP meeting by Dan Coughlin and others. And so thank you for viewing. And that's the end. We'll come back again next month. We'll have another meeting with ACAP. And keep your eye on Libby. Okay, Muammar Gaddafi's
I
coming.
mean, you and I could be very interesting too, Paul. Like we are. I mean, I think Harold and Bob were fascinating.
Well, no, that's just, that's it. But, and I think we ought to get this PSA out, because we are about to say public access. That could
Yes.
really make a
I'm
difference
gonna
for public
print that.
access. Well, it's
Except
sending
mine
out-
is messy, so I'll take Bob with too.
So thank you, darling, for streaming. And we got
Thank you.
14 up to 14. That's really something.
And who knows who the 14?
We don't know, do you know who the 14 are?
Maybe people log off and on. It's
You don't know how that works, huh?
No.
It's so good of you to persevere through all that. What are you doing up so late? You're supposed to be in bed long ago.
I know.
So that you can get up for the sunrise,
No,
right?
don't kid yourself.
She gets up with the sun.
I
It's
do.
like some sort of aberration.
You might try
Maggie's
it
the
someday.
same. Maggie's the same. She gets up and greets the morning sun and everything.
It's
I
just so
hate it.
beautiful.
Oh, it's so awful.